you know. And to err is human. Everybody has shortcomings,
To
and
forgive is
everybody at
divine.
one time makes certain things that, the society or the people who actually hail them might not see it in terms of the way they react. But at the same time, too, it makes an opportunity for us to have a conversation. And as A plus was saying, the conversation, I think that apart from legally look at the legal ramifications of this action and trying to do due diligence without overtly thinking that we need to show him some kind of power in order to prove something, and then going after one of ours as a means to showcase, like, oh, okay, this is what we do to musicians or other people who, have, just stand up and say something. Because the things that the legal ramifications for when you have laws about what you can say online, first of all, there has to be proof that whatever you're saying is fake news, and all of those things are very fluid right now when it comes to the
Yeah.
legal
Yeah.
realm of that. The legality of the internet is still not well established, so sometimes it's very hard to use offline legal, should I say, mediums to be able to judge in a medium that we are currently still writing and trying to figure out what the repercussions are. So yes,
Yeah.
all I'm saying, in the long run, what I'm saying is that we should not overly sensationalize it beyond what it is and try to just go cleanly and deal with it, and so that in the outside it doesn't look like we are just creating a certain drama,
Mm-hmm.
where an artist who is part of our fold has done something everybody thinks it's wrong. So there is also the call for him to be used as an example. That's one thing. We should be careful that the the outcome is not based upon some need to show, put somebody in their place,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
based upon the facts, and is done in a way that justice, will prevail, and everybody concerned will know that justice has prevailed. Because in the long run, this will be probably something that will look also back and say, okay, what are the parameters for free speech? And when does free speech also become injurious speech if it impacts the public? All of these are stuff that it will allow, the
Yeah.
legal minds to really be able to kind of reassess the parameters of it. And it's, we all grow from, our situation.
I bet Shatta was very excited, and I don't know if we had that comment in house about, some international blogs had picked up, this story, and he had his face on there. That brings me to our conversation this morning about strategy getting you there, strategy to get you on those platforms where almost every artist wants to reach.
Yes.
Rocky Dawuni had a different strategy, had a
Yes.
different approach, and it worked for him.
Yes.
This is Shatta Wale's strategy. But we're going to move away from this, from Shatta's, and talk about how generally we can get our music, to plug in there. When we're listening to some of the collections from you, Rocky, Philip, my producer in here, said, listen to the sound. Listen to the sound. Packaging.
Yeah.
I'd want to hear from you as a starter to this conversation before I bring in my panelists as well. Rocky, what would be or what has been the story for Rocky getting all those? Look, I'm on your mailing list. 1 minute I'm seeing Rocky Downey to perform at the international. This. The next minute Rocky Downey is in this country performing there. How do you do it, or how is it done? For you to be able to get your songs to be at the top of the charts in many places.
Well, the first thing is, you have to be driven. You, the person, the musician, you have to be driven in terms of where you want to go. Your vision for success. And that vision has to also revolve around how you want to do it. What kind of team do you want to put around you to allow you and enable you to achieve those dreams? When it comes to music, production and songwriting is a key part of music, and even great musicians that, along the way during my travel, when I meet a musician that I really love, I usually go to them and try to like be a student and ask them, you know, what is the key, and then they'll always tell you songwriting. If you write great songs, the songs will transcend its time of relevance. So that is a key thing that for every artist, you work on the craft, your ability to create that song, and not ability to create song too that is part of the trending and popular musical form. It's good to be part of the trending and popular musical form, but you always want to do something too that pushes the boundaries of it, and then beyond that too is the sound, the presentation. And I think that that's also a key part of you being able to define and create something that is undeniable. At the same time, too, is weaponized in its own sake to be able to cut across the boundaries.
Okay. Your answer on my next question would probably also get my pundits to now react to this. Rocky, can this be done from here? Or did you do it from here? And when I say here, I mean
from
Ghana.
here. It can be done from here. I think that it's not a matter of talent. It's a matter of, like when I started, I always challenged most of the people that I work with were Ghanaian musicians. I've never really kind of recorded with musicians outside till much more later in my career. But what I did was that I will go, when I travel, I'll go and listen to, go to studios, go and listen to.
Sorry. By
yes.
musicians, you mean the instrumentalists?
Instrumentalists,
right?
yeah.
Sorry,
The
okay.
instrumentalists, because the talent pool here is so incredible. It's unmatched anywhere. So I come and I work with musicians here, but then in terms of the studio equipment and mixing and all of that, I felt that the production quality of what we had here and what was going on radio could be better. And I wanted a sound too that could translate beyond here. So I was seeking out, tracking will be done here, but most of the time, when it comes to the mixing part of everything, I'll always go and work with other, people out in the U.S. or people that I felt were, the highest in their trade, because I was trying to take something that was ours, but at the same time be able to communicate it to audiences around the world. So I had to be on that level.
Great. Uncle Ken, do you agree that, in the sense that will our structures in here be able to help us plug our music, as a product internationally?
Yes, Sadiq of Three Music fame keeps telling me there's a very strong possibility of us attaining that feat. And when somebody like Sadiq tells me that, I tend to agree with him, because he is a young man that's been, doing great things. So I tend to agree with him most of the time that there is a possibility. But like Rocky's just said, when you want to package a product that is going to be accepted internationally, then you must know that you have a great task to accomplish. And that is where the rudiments of good music comes to play. Like he said, songwriting, musicianship, production. All these must come into play. What happens, I realize what happens a lot with us is that somebody puts out music. It's jumpy. Everybody can dance to it, and it's played everywhere. And when it's put on at parties, hey, it's a dance floor filler, that kind of thing. So people forget to actually weigh the strength of that particular song to do well outside our shores. That is the issue.
So where do we draw the line between riding the wave and being original? Because you have just one shot, on every song, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you just have one shot to tell the world who you really are.
Yeah, but that the trick is not necessarily to go out there. The trick is to create the scene here so that others will come to it. When you build it, they will come. Most of the sounds that have become global were actually incubated here in Ghana. It was Ghanaian, innovators, musical innovators who created those trends. But we didn't have the ability to scale in time with others who were able to have those structures already there to scale and rebrand it. So look at the innovation in musical styles that's going on here. Even you go to, I hear Kofi Jama, Dems, I hear Black Sherif, and all of this stuff. By in 2 years' time, if we are not able to take this innovation, it will be another country that would take the same style and rebrand it and give it a new name, and it will be global.
So what you just raised something? What should these new
Yes.
lords do?
That's where we come in. That's why we need a concerted support of industry. By concerted support of industry, I mean that the music from artists here should be played on the radio. The videos should be supported. We need to have a strong. We think we can circle the wagon without coming to terms that we need. So the support needs to be homegrown, and the media houses, video houses, all support Ghana made and Ghana produced works in order for it to be able to support itself and support innovation.
Okay, this is from an artist's point of view. Let me get Kwame Rasta on this. Kwame, isn't do Ghanaians support Ghanaian music, Ghana music
Yes.
enough for it to get this foundation that Rocky speaks of?
When you qualify it with the enough, it makes it difficult to stick to a yes or no for a response. But Jay,
Okay, just before you answer that question, so for those of us who were just watching us live on Joy Prime, thank you so much for joining us. The conversations are now going over, still on Joy 99.7 FM. You can also join us via Facebook. We are streaming live on there. But yes, my guests have been Rocky Daoni and Uncle Ken, and of course Kwame. But they're still here in the studio as the conversations are still ongoing on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll catch you if you're watching us on TV. We're back here same time next week, right here on Showbiz A to Z. Thank you very much. Anyway, Kwame, like you're saying.
yeah. So I was saying that the way you qualify the question with enough, it makes it difficult to respond with a yes or no, because enough is relative. And please, I'll plead with you to lend me just 20 seconds. Kwame Plus said some interesting things.
Okay.
And Kwame is my friend, senior brother. And he grew up with Shatta, like he says. I didn't. Do you understand? And so if we find ourselves in a situation where Shatta he currently lives in Ankafo, I would say that in his hard work to do Shatta's bidding, which is cool, he shouldn't premise his thoughts on somebody who's just been charged and yet to be proven guilty or otherwise. I'm referring to the pastor, the prophet. As it stands now, he's saying that they sort of have been vindicated because the man has been picked up. But that's all there is to the man's story. He's not guilty of any charges preferred against him. Do you get what I'm saying? So you cannot argue on the premise that it is good that the gentleman or your friend, our superstar, is in prison. Because he being wherever he is also a process. We are looking at looking at the common sense bit of it. But beyond that, if you want to claim a win or victory because Shatta is the new Christo, that's fine. But do not premise your argument on somebody who is not being pronounced guilty yet.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
so
Point well made.
thank you, you and Kwame. So
So let's come back to our music issue.
with the music bit, I think that Ghanaians can do more, but it's not entirely because they are not patriotic. It is because the demographics of persons who pay for music has not been widened enough. It's not been widened enough to be able to reflect in the numbers. Now, there are music users and there are people who pay. And it is through payments that will record most of the data that informs a track being this successful or making it to Billboard or any of the digital platforms and their charts. Now, this issue, this question again, I cannot answer with a yes or no because a kind of music and its consumption. Somebody is wired in a manner that his or her favorite musician is Wiala. Somebody, by their orientation, also will see a Wendy Shea as their favorite.
That's right.
Now, somebody would also cite a lack of numbers population-wise and say that is indicator enough of how well we consume or use music. I believe we have the numbers, but primarily we haven't caught up with the new way of acquiring, paying for, and using music. So you'd realize that people share music files amongst themselves. If you host a concert, you get more people responding to the music because they
Maybe I
probably
should ask the question in this way: are we consuming more foreign music than Ghanaian music? Because that also forms the basis
the data
of
suggests that we
Yeah.
are consuming more.
So
foreign
what?
music.
So what is the reason? Why are we consuming? Because at the end of the day, everybody has got a right to what he or she wants to hear.
No,
So
you consume based on advertisement, based on what has reached out to you. Now, Uncle Ken, you he interjected with a question: what data? There's been there's hardcore data which collates or picks up the number of streams
Okay.
and whatnot hits of music consumed within a certain territory.
Okay.
So that's the data I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yes.
But would you also agree that that data somehow is very flawed because you might get people in Ghana listening to Ghanaian music
From-
and foreigners in Ghana also listening to both Ghanaian and foreign music.
Okay, you see, so Uncle Ken, let me help the conversation here. The way the figures are put together to reflect what we consider data is purely, it's regardless, it's territory based. So unless somebody wants to tell us that there are more foreigners in Ghana than
Kwame, just to
than
help you too,
Ghanaians.
for instance, when it comes to the notion that we have that Ghanaians consume more Nigerian music than our own, when Jay mentions foreign, he's actually referring to our neighbors, because that has been the conversation
Okay,
in this
Uncle Ken,
country, that we consume too much Nigerian music than ours.
Okay.
And I'm saying that it could be that there are a lot of Nigerians in Ghana.
Okay, now I
Also
wouldn't,
consuming
I wouldn't
Nigerian
stretch
music.
the argument to even to that point because, and I know we are digressing, but quickly.
No, we aren't.
I'm saying that I disagree that we do not consume enough Ghanaian
Oh,
music.
okay. So do I.
That's my position, and my position is based on, unfortunately for me, no data, but through my observation, and because we by our own selves do not get music from the right source. Now, if our folks who constitute the larger populace were able to stream songs or were in positions to stream songs by way of or if that's how they consume music, there would have been data, they would have been captured under those figures which make the data that suggest that we are consuming more foreign music. Now, those who consume more foreign music or those who consume music properly and could be tracked, they use the streaming services. So they are picked. They are captured in that data pool. But the majority of people on the street, they do not stream.
Okay.
They send the files like from phone to phone or at the
MP3.
do you understand? So you find out that at the lower base, there we on our social gatherings, there are lots of Ghanaian music being used.
Yeah.
So for me, that is indicator that no, it is not true. But when you look at those who are captured, they are, let's say, the elites, and so the way they react to the streaming portals is what is presented as hardcore facts.
Okay.
But
And we're on the
ground,
same page.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let,
We are
let
on
me
the
let
same
me
page.
ask Rocky Downey this, that Rocky, assuming, okay, sorry, can you
Yeah, Rocky. You know, your initial topic. What was your initial topic?
on how we can plug our music onto the international, how
you.
how we can
Thank
get
you.
to the front there.
Thank you.
Last week, just to clarify this,
Right.
Rudy Kwachi and Sadiq actually said that, look, we all have equal advantage with all the platform that can plug us onto the
Right.
international platform. So
Right.
they said that we are already there, but how to amplify it became
Is the problem.
is the problem.
Okay, okay. Now, I've known Rocky since my days at Groove FM.
Wow.
Yeah. Back in the day, I'm talking about 1995, there about when Groove was set up and Rocky was up there. Now, you in introducing Rocky made the point about Rocky being in the limelight out there. I have also heard people in Ghana ask questions like, but what kind of music does Rocky do for him to be out there? Okay? I've heard people ask those questions. And it is because here in Ghana, people don't consume Rocky's music as much as he's heralded out there. Is it true, or am I right or I'm wrong?
Confession.
Rocky.
Yes.
It's a hard thing too, because to say that for a fact.
No, that's what I've heard people say. Oh, I'm not
Yes.
saying that's a fact.
Yes.
I've heard
No,
the
but
arguments.
opinions. Obviously there's a lot of opinions, because I have, early part of my career, I also recognized the importance that, to make any kind of advancement in my career beyond the boundaries of here,
Of
I have
this
to be out
place.
there working.
Thank you. I'm asking these questions to
So,
hit to my
yes.
point about the quality
Yeah.
of music that you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
So
I had to work in different markets. I'll come, and every year I will go
Yes.
out, go play, hustle, play shows, and then by the end of the year I will come back to Ghana and then come and start also working. And I had my Independence Splash, which was a yearly festival that I did. So every year, wherever I will come back Independence Day and do that concert. So I worked because that was what was available to me from the beginning. It wasn't like the internet days where when I started in the beginning, that you put it online and everybody knows it. You have to physically go and be present in these festivals. You have to have your music marketed in the markets that you're trying to reach. You have to also physically be there and play shows for people to see you, and for you to build up.
Thank you.
Any kind of traction.
Thank you.
So it took so much effort. These days it's easier because you can sit here and put something up online, and by tomorrow you'll be heard around the globe.
Yeah.
So the opportunity right now is even much more greater for us to be able to equalize. But the thing is that, when greatness is thrust upon you, it's up to you to utilize it.
Thank you, Rocky. I am glad you.
I have
explained
questions to
it.
that, but
the
I want
point
to
I was
hear
trying
Uncle
to
Ken.
make is what Jay said, that Sadiq and Rudy last week made the point that we are already plugged in there, but we are not seeing it to take advantage of and make noise about. But you did. And it hurts me when people ask those questions, because you are there. How did you get there if you were not doing what was right? That's my point.
Yeah, and then the thing is that I think that every pathway to is different. It's not only one. I had to do, mine was more like, how do you survive and thrive? If you have a vision. So it was all in terms of learning on the go, knowing that, okay, if Los Angeles was the market, I tell people, when I tell people even like some of the strategies that I use, they can't even believe it, because when I started playing Los Angeles, I noticed that they won't book any African who was local. They always want to book Africans who were outside,
Right.
because there was also always a perception that you're a local artist. So you had a local artist tagged. So, and then a lot of the booking agencies and all of that. So when I recognized that, I knew that it was a difficult thing, although my music was really getting inroads, but it was difficult for people to book me. So I decided to start a club. I created a club there. Within a few years, that gathering became a very popular thing. And then all of a sudden, every promoter wanted to book their African artists in my club because I created an environment and I would do concerts once in a while. And I started attracting a lot of people. And that was one of the ways that I actually jumped into America because I created an ecosystem myself.
Good. So this is what I
Yes.
want to ask to it. So there is actually you being deliberate about how you want to plug internationally, and
Of course, you have
and
to
then
have
there is
strategy.
good, and then
Yes.
there is chance also, which plays a role in there.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that a lot of Ghanaian artists are leaning towards chance than strategy?
Well, I can say for every artist because it's hard for you to be in the strategy room of every artist, and know what they are. These days, people always want to use the trending thing because you remember back in the days when the rappers, before any rapper will have an album, they'll be arrested on a plane with a gun. In the US it became trendy. All of a sudden, the police will find that they'll be arrested, and then that arrest will be on the front page of every newspaper in America, and then by the end of the week the record is released. So the people were using people use strategies and that kind of stuff to really get the attention of the public. But I believed that what I was doing was something that I had to grow it organically. And when I'm talking about just my story was just about having a vision, working hard, and in every moment of it knowing that the only way I could compete was through quality and innovation. So I put a lot of effort in my songwriting, put a lot of effort in making good records, and I feel that that was what was what really pushed me beyond all the challenges that were there. And then when I came across an issue like an environment, Los Angeles, the heart of music, they don't want to, it's very hard to penetrate. I created my own space, and then afterwards, my space became the space that everybody wanted to have their artists play because that was the only way the press and all of that were going to see. But then I had to come up with that in order for me to survive and thrive there. And then I also extrapolated that by using that to also help push
A
lot of
Ghanaian
African music there.
artist, a Ghanaian artist, and this goes to all three, all of you, my guests. So a Ghanaian artist like Rocky had to work this hard to get
Step by step,
to
every
grow
way-
an organic following,
Yes.
to get that attraction. Now, Uncle Ken will say when Jay says foreign, he means Nigerian. So let me just confess and say there is a natural likeness of Nigerian music when it comes to Ghanaians. And I don't know, I can't speak for other countries, but clearly we can see that when a Nigerian artist releases a song, it grows quicker with less work to gather this organic following. So the question is are we not creating music that is equally likable? I mean, we talk about supporting our own. We have good Ghanaian music, but clearly, music is food for the soul. Naturally, and DJ Betty, if you were my guest here, he will tell you.
Yes.
This is in the words of DJ Betty. He says, when I go for events and I'm playing, and I drop Ghanaian songs and I drop Nigerian songs, you see the crowd's reaction.
difference.
It's a difference. So, what is constituting this natural likeness? Is it just a season or a time that we are just going through? Because we had the likes of Florian Ponsa and Lord Kenya, and where their songs were on radio every God blessed day. The full album of Paimuka Obrafo was loved. People rapped from the first dot that on that hammer put there to the last word Obrafo said on the album. And all these artists were equally positioned for a global spike. But what happened? We couldn't maintain it. So what is causing this? Is it that our songs, honestly, isn't cut for an international market in terms of all the elements that constitute a good song? Mix, lyrics, you name it, branding, artist position. And I want to throw this all to the three of you. Let me start off with you, Rocky, on this issue, and I take Kwame's response on this as well.
Oh, I mean, when it comes to talent, I say, we have a lot of incredible talents, a lot of great music Ghana has always had an incredible legacy of, an amazing local industry. But I think that the issue was that we never really had a structure that will take whatever was happening locally and then be able to push it out there. I will give an example.
Okay.
And this example was something that when In Ghana was released and was a popular song, I was I went on tour with two other artists. One was from Ivory Coast, one was from Senegal. And we were booked through the WOMAD festivals, a lot of festivals, in the US. The song was a very popular song. It was my breakout song. What we noticed that a lot of the artists who came from the Caribbean countries, because they were on these circuits, there was a concerted effort by even their country and all of. They had a system that once these artists were going, the system will come. So they were marketing their country. There was something that was connected into a bigger picture of magnifying that opportunity. And also, when you look at our Francophone brothers and sisters, whenever there is a locally trending or locally famous artist or band, what happens is that they have the opportunity of, plugging into the French system. And through the French system, through France, they're immediately given local French booking agencies. Once French booking agencies come on board, then they are able to plug into all the French festivals. The French festivals, you're able to plug into Europe. So the system was there. And then through the Alliance Française, they were also able to, be able to tour within the Africa, the African ecosystem. We didn't have that unless it was chance. If you're an African, if you're a Ghanaian musician, it's rare that you'll be able to plug through France and be able to have that opportunity because we didn't have that setup. You see, so here we were to some, and the Nigerians, I don't want to give, because we always talk Nigeria. Nigeria, I think, equalized that with their numbers. And they're able to support a system, a thriving musical system that had record labels, a lot of investment, a lot of great clubs, even all the, legacy artists, from Lagbaja to Sonny Ade to Fela, all of them had clubs and, and places that live music they were playing. There was a thriving scene that they, to some extent, used that to equalize what was going on in the French countries who had that, who could plug into that framework. I think that the whole thing is that we did not have the luxury of all of those. And that is not to say that it's because we did not, our music was somehow, below that. But to some extent too, I feel that the production, in terms of the production quality too, could be better. When it comes to our music. And I think that if we're able to put all of those in place, and now with the ability to use technology to also equalize all of these issues that existed before, I think our golden era is right now. And we just need to see this as a beginning rather than, talk about the past, that, we have a bright future. Yes.
Jay, very quick one for Rocky. Yeah. Would he say, amidst all that he has said here this afternoon about how he was able to gain some traction in the States, is it important that you know the right people in the industry too?
I think it used to be. And I think the thing is that knowing the right people also, it's a vague, broad term.
No, the right
because
people
you can know the right people
to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, you can know the right people, but if you don't have the right music and you're not right ready, they can't make water out of stone.
Right.
And then the right people too are attracted if you do something on a high level that is unquestionable. For me, I was like, if you are competing with people who have structures, let your music be able to be speak for itself when you are not in the room. So that's why we needed to get into the production, the songwriting, like all these things that makes creativity, elevates creativity to the highest. Because if you make great music, believe me, it will break borders.
Okay, let me pick Kwame. I want to hear you on this subject.
Thank you, Jay. Listening to Rocky speak the way he was doing, it's quite heartwarming. It's not every day that we get our legends to impact knowledge. And having said that, if you're a young budding musician coming up and you are listening to Rocky Dawuni, and you have any plans of also going to set up a club at some of your area place, repent, because you see, it is not.
That was actually the
he
later
figured-
part.
he-
That was the later part of my career when I figured that America was going to be tough for me to crack.
So
That was a
basically-
strategy for America.
Yes.
Yes.
So you do not copy and paste.
Yes.
Even scripture says, "Man, know thyself." Look at your music. Look at the various aspects, the specialized, the specialities that are brought to bear on a successful song, from inception to writing to composing, production, marketing. If you do not, or you disregard these tenets of a successful song or product, you go chair as an underground artist. So again, we take lessons from him because he's gotten there, and even him is not satisfied. He's still forging forward. So if you are coming, like, there are instances that we can cite and go like, yo, this is divine. It wasn't because you had some superior intelligence or marketing team or some money. There are more recent situations of hits or musicians whose lives were turned over and they are household name today. So it's important that you do your best at every level of production.
Yeah. Kwame,
Okay.
Jay, I want to ask a question because it always confuses me when we talk about like the point, like the issue at stake. How can we plug into the scene up there? And then I ask myself, how do we measure plugging in there? Is it about winning awards? Or is it about visibility out there while performing? Because if it is about winning awards, then I don't know what to say. But at the moment, I know there are so many Ghanaian musicians plugged in there on the road, touring from city to city, from country to country, performing and gaining lots and lots of respect and making money as well. Now, those people are on the foreign circuit, not here.
Yeah.
So we don't know them as part of our celebrities.
Okay, so Uncle Ken, great point you just mentioned, because just on the back of that, I have actually gotten online a very good friend of mine. He's in the US.
Oh, okay.
His name is Terry. Now, Terry is responsible for some of the great events that he's an event organizer as well. And Terry has dealt with so many Ghanaian artists. Has been trying to get some in there. He was also the one. When Sarkodie performed, did his concert at the Apollo, Terry was, the man behind putting that event together, where Sarkodie packed the Apollo. But he has also other points. We want to look at how he is trying to plug Ghanaian music into where he finds his space, into his community, and some of the challenges that he faces. Terry, are you on the line? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jay. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you also doing?
Hanging in there.
Well, yes, sorry for calling you on short notice, though. But I mean, the conversations we are having here, it just dragged you in here for you to also share a few with us. Now, Terry, let's talk about the challenge. Let me start off with the challenges that you face. You and I have had this conversation before about the challenges you faced in engaging Ghanaian musicians and artists in trying to plug them into, you find yourself in New York. Correct me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, sorry.
Yes. Yes.
And some of the challenges that you face in engaging Ghanaian musicians, to perform or hold concerts or try and grow their fan base in your community.
When you say challenges, it's two different things that we can break down. Challenges as in, are you referring to like when the event is happening or getting them here?
Let's talk about attitude. Yes, getting them there, the attitude.
Uh, the attitude, getting it all depends on your relationship and you, the organizer, yourself. Whatever you propose to an artist or any businessman, if it makes sense to the person, I think every artist will be willing to work with you. So that's one side with the artist. I think every artist that you try to bring here would understand you as long as the numbers, your proposal makes sense to them.
Okay, so in generalizing this conversation, I mean, what have you personally experienced in past times? So even before we come to that, let's narrow it down first to your event with Sarkodie and the Apollos. How easy or difficult was it, not with Sark, but how easy or difficult was it in trying to create this, get the numbers to attend this all Ghanaian event?
It was a little bit difficult because I had to do a lot of underground work, as in going out to convince some of our own people to really come out. The good thing about that whole event was, if we were to do research, we would notice that was Apollo was the first biggest concert that let's say the whole Africa has actually did. Because before that, we used to do events at gym, ballrooms, and here and there. So that was an eye-opening for us. It was a stepping stone for us. So a lot of people wanted to actually see what it was. It was something different. And I think every time you do events here and you go higher or you try to bring something different, people are interested in, want to attend to it.
Terry, let me push you. Let me push you to the wall. Why haven't you done another? Has there been any reasons, whether with Sarkodie or with any other artist?
That's a great question. I tend to build more relationship as time went with Sark. We understand each other when it comes to business levels, business conversation. So he makes my job a little easy for me. So every proposal I throw to him, he buys onto it. He trusts me. He understands my work. But I've always wanted to work with other artists. So it's not that I'm not looking to work with other musicians. I'm always willing to work with other musicians.
Do you get any sort of overly demands that make it difficult for you to engage artists?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so Terry, thank you very much for giving us that understanding of how it is when you want to establish some of these events there. But we really appreciate your time with us as well. Thank you so much. So,
Jay, quick one.
Yes.
Quick one before I forget. Let me throw this in there, like a conversation that myself and you have had before. When it comes to doing events here, the most difficult things are sometimes like sponsorships. Us getting sponsorships here, so it makes it a little hard. It's like somebody here have to use their own pocket money to do events,
Yeah.
So that's one challenging that we have here. It's like if you don't have the funds, you can't do it.
Do you think
you can't get sponsorships?
I was letting you go, but I think let me just keep you for a second. Do you feel that? Do you probably know the reason why such corporate bodies don't want to engage themselves in spending money on Ghanaian music, through events, for example?
It all depends on the artists themselves, what they can also bring to the company or which company you're trying to bring on board on which event that you're doing. If your numbers are right or your proposal look right, what you can bring or you can give the company back, they were always willing to jump on it.
All right. Terry, thank you very much. You have also brought another side to this, and really appreciate it. I'm going to come down to funding as another issue, but well, let me just quickly um, jump into some comments on here coming in on our social media. So aside the Ghana album, the In Ghana album, I beg your pardon, it says this one is asking to Rocky. Says Rocky the Maestro Dawuni was mostly global than local. So Uncle Ken is right, and this is Papa C at. Okay, I'll hold on with where the name is. I'm very bad with some of the towns, the names.
Papa C.
This is A
Apred.
Aprede.
Apred.
Aprede.
Papa
Yeah.
C at Aprede.
Apred. Akwapim Mountains.
Please, you don't want to know what I had in mind. This one says, I pray the police continue the law on everyone. Okay, I think this is just log me on there for a second. But anyway, okay, I'll come to this shortly. But Rocky, so about funding and how you were able to, because this is another critical part that a lot of artists, always talk about funding. How were you able to generate enough funds to be able to, pull off some of these?
You just, self-sacrifice, borrowing from friends and family people, and believing in the dream. I mean, that's just how I did it. In the first, some people, you can get an investor, somebody who believes in your dream and will put money into it, or a record company signs you, and then the record company does the investment, and funds you, and then funds you all along the way. I didn't have that luxury. So what I did was that you go and you work, you raise money, and then you record a record, and then you use that to promote the record and pay your team and all of that, and then the next record you keep, you get gigs, and then you play the gigs, and then you take the money and you invest it, and you keep doing it that way to grow it. So it takes commitment, long, and that's why I feel that the artist has to be ready for it. It's not something that you just get up and it's all like glitter and glamour. And I think people get a little bit too enamored by that aspect, but it takes work, commitment, sacrifice to be able to put into anything for it to flourish. So for me, I knew that I had to figure it out one way or the other, and that's how and most artists will tell you, when they tell you the story of how they really made albums, that's what it took.
We saw Kwame. We saw Burna Boy, do this album collaboration with P Diddy, and we all probably woke up to, okay, so how was that plug in done? What had Burna Boy? What did he do to prepare him to gain that attention? For him to be able to, and through that the Grammys came, which I'm going to ask Rocky about his Grammy nomination. Through that the Grammys came, and then he won, and then now it's a global conversation. Is it that we also now need, and talking about strategy, that was his? Is it that we also need to adopt such similar strategies to be able to get Grammys?
There's nothing wrong with adopting and then building upon an original work of art. It's called inspiration.
But not copying Rocky's style of
You see, off the top of most heads in Ghana, you ask what genre of music Rocky Dawuni does. Most people will say reggae music. But when you listen to his most recent album, you'd find out a clear migration into what I would call a higher realm of art, where he expresses himself not being boxed into any particular genre of music. When you listen to the elements in the production, it tells a story. For me, that's somebody who is not static, an artist who is like who has a wider view of events. Now, the Burna Boy situation, for me, sort of I don't know if they both Rocky's team and Burna's team picked a leaf from the same book, but you listen to, it's almost like it's world music when you listen to the elements that Burna re-emphasized with this recent album. You remember he missed out on the Grammys the previous time, and this time he got nominated and he won. I would say that the Nigerian situation that we so much review in this manner was inspired by our high life, because the Sonny Ades and all the big boys who did high life music, which inspired the youth of today in Nigeria, and we are rather envious of. The roots of it came from this space called Gold Coast and Ghana. So if we want to get there, we only need to look at ourselves. And like Rocky said, there are so many wonderful musicians, instrumentalists, like originality here in this space.
So how come they are not getting the because so it's about, yes, we have them. We've said it's countless times. We have them.
It's production.
It's knowing how to use them.
They're not being
you can
used
have the
for
resource, you know, but
then
You
it
don't
means
use
the
them when
equation
you
somewhere
create
is
your
wrong.
beats,
Yeah.
Your beats.
Yes.
You do not use musicians to create your beats.
Yeah.
So how are you going to use them?
Again, instrumentalists, like session
you
musicians.
go understand music.
So,
Yeah.
you see, Jay, I mean, you are familiar with track making. You could make the track on your laptop. That's your infant baby. But to dare put it out or even send it to a record executive to consider your work of art, it must have grown into that studio session time where musicians come to play. There are levels of production that we most often take for granted, because there are examples of persons who did it anyhow and they got to a certain height.
Thank you.
So you see, ultimately you can have the conversation all year round, but it comes back to ambition of the artist. Do they want to go that far? I mean, no disrespect, there are luminary musicians in this space, like serious people, and their names cannot be mentioned beyond the borders of Ghana. They've remained
The clubs
local
where they play.
champions forever, and then they are phased out, and then a new breed of wannabes to come in, and then they get to the same Ghana heights and never beyond. There is a science behind it, bro. It is not by mistake. There are exceptions where, because you lack a certain element, it sort of keeps you in this space. But every artist who wants to get to any height, once they have that belief and they do things right, like he did.
Yeah.
Because if we had left him here, would have retired him. That no if you
Okay.
we go do 'em.
We are going to get into a final session of this conversation and get practical, very, very, very practical on the way forward.
retire.
Now, this practical session, Rocky, I'll be throwing it to you as lead on this, on how we are actually going. Now, we're going to pick one person's and use him as a case study, and then we'll see what kind of if assuming Rocky was in the lead role of managing that person, what are some of the things you would do in addition to what he's doing, because it's a journey that's not completed yet. So of some of our upcoming artists, and then we'll look at the ways in which we can plug that person deliberately, whether as persons with experience or as government position on pushing creative arts, or it's an individual's desire to make it happen. We want to look at this shortly. I have also my CEO of Rave Group on the line as well. Mr. Rudy Kwachi will be joining us on the conversation shortly. But before that, real quickly, now the world of business changes rapidly, but you can stay ahead of the curve. Now receive all the breaking news and stories behind the numbers straight to your MTN or Airtel Tigo device daily or monthly. Now simply go to My Joy Online and click on the blue notification bell and subscribe now. Get all the facts and figures and stories from the world of business wherever you are, direct to your mobile device. The real news delivered to to you. Charger Supply. And also the night you've been waiting for, finally here. I spoke to you earlier on about the Harmonious Choral Ghana, Choral Group Ghana presenting Records Night. It's happening Sunday, 24th October. Just jump on their YouTube channel, which is Harmonious Choral YouTube channel. Get on there, and at 6 p.m. tomorrow, don't miss out on it. It's going to be a lovely concert, taking you back into time, enjoying, reliving the golden moments of the olden days. This event is themed, Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations, Psalm 90, verse 1. For more information, just contact 0268 130 615. That's 0268 130 615. And also, real quickly, I want to remind you on the 12th edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, powered by the Plant City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. It's also under the theme Home Ownership, to build or to buy. Don't miss out. Wednesday 27 to Sunday 31st October. Coming next week. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. A lot of giveaways and activities as well. For inquiries, call 0546 90 81 79 or 0540 11 0389. That's 0540 11 0389. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Plant City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Construction, DBS Industries, Duraplast, Renters Paradise, Gold Key Properties, of course, EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Everything housing. A quick reminder as well, download those color ringback tones because they've got a catalog of over 16,000 songs, which includes over 2,000 artists in different genres. Now, this week on the Caller Tunes, if you want to get these songs, it's very simple. King Promises, Slow Down, just dial *135 *226 hash. Kwame Eugene's Dollar on You is *1355 *142 hash. Joe Metal's Omawani is *1355 *140 hash. Famiya's Praise is *1355 155 hash, and Mr. Drew's Mood is *1355 *26 hash. And DSTV also gives you 10 reasons to subscribe in the 10th month of the year. Season 2 of Sankofa is running on Akwaba Magic. Exclusive Europa and Conference League matches on Super Sports. The new season of Real Housewives on Beverly Hills on One Magic. The unbeatable DSTV app that helps you manage your account and watch on the move. Fresh box office movies every week. DSTV Catch Up. Premium subscribers getting Showmax added for free. Compact and Compact Plus subscribers getting Showmax at 50%. Captivating and educational kids content. And finally, the EPL, La Liga and Serie A games you can watch. Just buy a DSTV decoder with installation, plus 1 month access for 169 Ghana cedis, and you can also upgrade to compact for an additional 108, that's 108 Ghana cedis, and just SMS 1731. Real quickly, DSTV, this is your moment. All right, let me go on straight to Rudy Kwachi, who's also joining me on the line now. Let's quickly look into the last 10 minutes of the show to look into solutions real quickly. Rudy, good afternoon. Okay, so let me get him in line now.
Abdullah the second.
Yeah, hello, Rudy. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll try and get our connection back on there. But let me now get to my panel in the studio. So we are seeing the rise of to you, Rocky, Akaken, to you, Kwam. We are seeing the rise of newbies and the new lords, the Yao Togs, the Kofi Jamars, Kweku Flakes, you name them. Unlimited numbers coming in the to all in the interest or one focus: put Ghana on the map. If you ask them, they'll all say that. Now, what would you say to them if you had the chance to help direct their path as to already what they're doing? What would be the strategy? Because it's a national conversation. We can't allow them to become flash in the pan artists. We want them to get that global, attention. We want to see Kofi Jamar's Ekoso, which is a jam that happened from last year, December. We want to see that song pick up an award shortly. How or what should they do? Rocky, let me start off with you.
I think that the thing about that sound just broke out by itself, and because it was happening, it was a local power of innovation and creativity that all of a sudden everybody wanted to be a part of it. So for me, what really is very important from now onwards is how this is all managed. How these artists are managed, and then also these artists have to make sure that because they have some kind of they have a traction going right now. So to be able to maintain that by being creative, focusing more on creating good, deeper versions of what they're doing rather than the popularity that comes with it and the attention that comes with it. So once you remove yourself from the star trappings of it, then you are focusing on the work that is required to grow it and make it long. Because we're littered with a lot of flashes in the pan. You just have to look in music and see trends. For a trend to come from being just a trend into a sound and a definition of a movement, that means innovation, management, and then the hunger of the artist involved in it to keep growing and outside of the allure of the stardom.
The voice of
Boom
Boom Bong. What are you going to do to it? Because we know eventually it's going to be it's going to be everywhere, and we are all going to sit back and say, "Wow, there goes Rocky." What are you going to do? Because the new laws need to hear this and put into practice.
Yes. You see, with that album, I went back, because I think that a lot of times we think that the way forward is by embracing new things that we don't have. But sometimes the way forward is actually going back like a catapult. It can go further when it goes up. Sankofa, you take that and you reinvent it. I mean, if you hear the kind of African sound that is trending around the world right now, it's a combination of sukus like hi-hats, high life guitars, and it's all been done before. It's just been reconfigured in a way and rebranded. So my thing is that our artists, we should go back to the fundamentals, learn the fundamentals, make it part of what we are creating, and then give what we are creating a much more broad. We have to be able to do something that they cannot do.
So what is on this album?
This album is basically me going deep into like palm wine high life.
Okay.
And then
so rhythm.
also, yes, there's a song called Wara. That is full on palm wine high life. There's a song called My Baby, which is actually my influence from the Wulome, Jajeloy, and all of those. That sound that was Accra sound, that most people have forgotten, but it was, a sound that came out of here that is really powerful. I just went back to all of those and tried to reinterpret them in a contemporary way.
So I've picked rhythm, I've picked culture. I want to pick these things. Now it's directing me to originality. I want to pick more from this album.
Yes. So and then at the same time too, I also reached out to try and expand, like there's certain songs like Difference that takes the modern production approach to, let's say, Afrobeat, but more in giving it much more a deeper bottom line, so it doesn't become part of just a trendy sound, So what I do is that, I'm always hungry to innovate because I create not necessarily for the times. I also create in a way that I feel that this music is a reflection of the times in which I am, and it's also pushing the boundaries of the future, So I think that when you are an artist that you do that, you are competing against nobody, and you're just competing against creating, new bodies of excellence that you find yourself and you are influenced by. And I think that that's how artists should be, because if you're part of the trend comes in and goes, and you become irrelevant with the trend gone.
But so what you have created is a concept album for yourself.
Yes, a concept album that was born out of no concept, out of my influences.
Okay.
You see, so that becomes, because concept, a lot of times, I've spoken to, a lot of our artists, I've told them, when everybody else nominated for a Grammy, everybody was like, what else? Like, that's what I did, literally. It was taking influences and fusing them. And I've been working on that for a long time. But on this album, it really came seamlessly and defined a new sound. So most of the people who were listening at that time heard it and heard something very new. And so it made you stand, apart from the crowd. And I feel that that is the thing, is that there's so much cultural music, so much tribal sound, so much of that we can constantly draw.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be afraid to innovate. When
Okay.
everybody plays the same sound,
Yeah.
and everybody's afraid to do something different because they're not going to be played, then we kill innovation. And
Okay. Uncle Ken,
The making of this album,
Yes.
the considerations was not commercial to
the
start off.
consideration was not commercial.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I have 3 minutes left. Let me just use 2 out of the 3 minutes, which I'll come back to my in-house for us to wrap up. To pick up word from Rudy Kwache, who is joining us via Zoom. Rudy, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Rudy, I just have 2 minutes with you, unfortunately. But
Yes,
we want to
sorry.
be solution-driven. We've heard lots from Rocky, but what about you? What's your take? What should we do? Quickly.
I think. Let me say this. We're already doing something. We need to do what we are doing better, and also know that there isn't a standard for us and a standard for people out there. Rocky's actually shown us. Like, that's the thing. We already got the cheat codes right next to us, and we've not used it. So for me, whatever it is that we're doing, we need to double down on it.
Yes.
Right now. Take care of your publishing. Look at the music that you're putting out there. When you put the music out there, please stop screaming. It's the media that is not promoting me. No, it's your product. You don't hear that this way chocolate guy not going out to sell it. He does sell it. So it's the same thing. You need to treat it as a product and get it out there in front of people. And then also start to look at the other revenue sides to this conversation. Guy, nobody goes into music just making money from CD sales or streams. There is so much more. In fact, the money in music is in touring. And it's in everything that you put in people's hands, not people's ears, people's hands. So merchandising should be part of your strategy. Last week, I pointed out something that there's an artist in town that I always see he could sell 1 million units of a single line of merchant from a single album. But that's all money that is going down. And so we need to double down on that, because I see the merch out, but I know that he's not making money from it. I'm so sorry that I couldn't join.
It's fine.
Earlier. I think we do need to have a sit down on this.
We definitely have a sit down on this. He's raised the looking at the revenue situation, as in like looking at a 360, having a 360 mindset.
You have to be
to making the money.
I was so much looking forward to sitting with Rocky.
Yeah, but
there was so much I wanted to tap from him. But I think any other time when this conversation happens, I'm in.
I see Rudy's been busy on Twitter Spaces having other conversations there. All right, Rudy, thank you very much.
No, that's interesting what Rudy just raised.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that the beginning of you transforming your profile into a business starts with once you are there.
Yeah.
And you have because when you are touring and you're on the move, you are meeting new people, you are selling CDs, merchandise, stickers, anything that you can think about that can totally be able, so that people have a little piece of what you represent.
Yeah.
It's a way to
Very important.
monetize, and I feel that streaming, even back in the days when CDs used to be great, CDs were still, they used to be profitable, but they were still not the ultimate way that musicians made money. So a lot of opportunities exist.
Please, Uncle Ken, in 30 seconds, and Kwame, in 30 seconds, they say the word to the voice is in the north. It's in a voice from
Boom Boom.
Yeah.
I have to get it. Boom boom.
Yes. Okay.
30 seconds, please. I have to go now, Uncle Ken.
Yes, interesting conversation. Like Rudy just said, I mean, musicians have to sit back, think, and double what they hear from other people to be able to get there.
Fantastic. Kwame.
Yeah, I
From
want to seize the
voice from
opportunity to thank God for the climate that we currently enjoy. It's quite chilly.
Which climate?
I mean, the weather.
Are you
is
really
quite
talking about the weather?
cold. And so
Kwame, Ajimambe.
under these circumstances, if you are in any prison, you don't suffer too much. Do you understand?
see?
It's calm, I would want to believe. So we thank God for the good weather. Next week we would show
Yes,
up
and Kwame,
in
just
court.
to add to
Yeah.
that, a point was made that they were sent to Anchorful for their own security, so that they enjoy their peace and not
Yeah,
have.
I think Ankwafo is good for security and peace.
Yes, maximum security.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much, Uncle Ken. Really appreciate you coming as well. And Kwame, really appreciate it. And Rocky, please, the album is out now?
Yeah,
It's
out now. It's streaming,
Yeah.
so on all platforms, and also, this is Grammy voting season, so it's also right now eligible for Best Global Album.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
anybody that's out there, let's put in some good energy out there, and being eligibility, does not really mean much. It means that people are voting, and see your record, but as among thousands of also other entries, but you always have to, once you do great work, the discerning listeners get the opportunity to really listen. And I feel that is the opportunity that we have here. We have a great country, great music, potentially great system, smart people, and there's nothing that should be above us. We just have to hone in and focus and work to uplift each other and work together. And I think that this conversation will be something that will be like, you remember when we talked about this?
Yeah, exactly.
Here we are.
Here we are. On that note, it's Wara by Rocky Dawuni. Check it out. My name is Jay Foley. Next week.
You have seen
It's Showbiz A to Z.